Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain Free You. Today I wanted to talk about this. How to avoid the fear-pain loop. All right? This will be sort of a case study from somebody I just dealt with who's went through a interesting time. So, let yourself relax, lower those shoulders, loosey-goosey. Fill your lungs up. Exhale completely. Okay. So, how to avoid the fear-pain loop. So I've got a past group coaching client, and they just ran into a situation where one day they started to get significant jaw pain. And fascinating, the night before they just read a recent text-based success story where somebody was talking about trigeminal neuralgia, which is face pain. And when she read that, the next day she got face pain. And some people are fairly susceptible to suggestion. And, I've joked that sometimes TMS, mind-body symptoms, are contagious. But it's not the symptoms that are contagious, it's the fear. And so this person's brain latched onto the, oh my goodness, that sounds horrible. For whatever reason, her system was amped and ready to go, and boom, she got some pain. So what happened over a series of days was some fear for sure, some research, some comments online asking people for what's going on, both on her personal Facebook as well as in some groups, and getting a wide variety of answers. Some were, it's TMS, don't worry about it. And others were like, no, it's because of this and that, and you might need to do this. And ended up at a chiropractor's office, and the chiropractor mentioned the word trigeminal neuralgia. And that sent her into an internet search into some really bad neighborhoods where, if you're not familiar with it, that's one of those pain syndromes that really brutal. Pain is bad enough, but when it's in your face, it's even more difficult. So she got herself into a panic. But as the days progressed from the onset, as she became more fearful, the pain got higher. She became even more fearful. The pain got more intense. Fear, pain, looping all the way up to the point where she said she's never experienced pain at this high intensity before. And, fortunately, she reached out to me today, and we had a brief exchange via messaging. And that's exactly what happened. There was never anything wrong with her body. Her brain turned on the alarm that says, uh-oh, facial pain sounds pretty awful, danger. And naturally, when we have a new pain, we're going to say, oh, crap, what's that? And we start to become fearful, and then we research. We sometimes are told some, I call it misinformation. And this chiropractor, well-meaning, but he gave her a statement. It sounds like trigeminal neuralgia, which is like, you probably have this horrible thing. And when she researched it, I don't want to trigger anybody, but that is known in the world as the suicide disease, because a lot of people with that condition don't get hope, and they end up doing what. And so the panic and the fear really escalated very quickly. So it's a fear-pain loop. And I anticipate that once she can kind of grasp onto the fact that she has no proof she's got this condition called trigeminal neuralgia, other than an opinion from a misinformed chiropractor with no physical evidence that she's got this condition. There's no imaging studies. There's no medical test for it. It was based on her description of how bad it hurt. And he says, well, it might be that. And that sent her into a panic. And so, completely understandable how all that happens. And I know from working with this person in group coaching a while ago, she's had some fear over other symptoms. And yeah, she was kind of ripe for this, if you will. And no judgment whatsoever. But the what if question, what if the chiropractor's right? And what I just told her, the last thing I said to her is, what if the chiropractor's wrong? And you're panicking and it's causing the symptoms to intensify to a point that you can't even believe that it can hurt that bad. What if the chiropractor's wrong? It was an opinion, an ill-informed opinion, not based on facts, just purely based on her description of the symptoms. And the good news is she said, well, you know what? I'm going to go to the dentist and rule out infection, because the only other time she had ever felt symptoms that intense, she actually had a tooth infection. So she said, it makes sense. Let me go rule out a dental problem. And she did. They said there's no infection. And the good news is this dentist said, no, I don't think it's trigeminal neuralgia. In their entire career, decades of career, they've only seen that a couple of times, 2-3 times. And so there was a little bit of calming, accurate information coming from the dentist. No infection, nothing wrong. And what I'm really trying to impress on this person is you've got no proof of damage or injury or infection or illness. You have an onset of pain. Coincidentally, after reading about this trigeminal neuralgia, coincidentally, not so coincidentally, but it turned on, and then ever since then, she's been on this ever-increasing fear-pain loop. And so, can you see yourself in this pain loop, this fear loop? Pain, fear, pain, fear, pain. So whether you're dealing with a brand new symptom like this lady was, or a fear, pain increase in symptoms for something you've had for a while, the system works the way it does. And what I pointed out is there is nothing about her experience that says she's got a damaged part of her body. That nerve is not at play. The brain is doing all of it based on the perception of danger, and it's a false perception of danger. So I'm encouraging her to dismiss all of the information she read online and was told by the chiropractor, because she's got no evidence that she's got a nerve problem. She has pain, she has significant pain, but as you hear this story of how it started and progressed and got worse and worse and worse, it correlates directly with the intensity of her doubt and her fear and the all-consuming focus and attention and, frankly, freak out. So if this rings a bell for how you sometimes react to a new symptom or an increase in pain or symptoms for an existing symptom, learn from this lesson, because gaining clarity right up front would have likely avoided a lot of this. The first thing to ask with a new symptom is the mom test. Remember when you were a kid, you go and say, Mom, my knee hurts. What happened? Did you fall? Yeah, I did. And sure enough, there's a bruise and a scrape. But if there's nothing you can point to, maybe I slept funny on the pillow. No, the body's not that frail and easily broken or damaged. So just do the logical assessment. Okay, so I've got a new pain. Did I bang it? Did I fall? Was I in an accident? Was there an impact to the body? No. Look for the correlation between that and potentially a scary story that you might have read. Now, the good news is it was a positive story where the person got better from this trigeminal neuralgia with the mind-body approach. And if anybody's in that world with face pain, mouth pain, check painfreeyousuccess.com. There are several success stories for the TN, trigeminal neuralgia, as well as burning mouth, burning tongue, all that face head stuff. There's tons of success stories out there, nearly 100 right now. And I'm recording some more next week and then the following week. So, how to avoid the fear-pain loop. When you've got a new pain or symptom, don't panic. Take a breath, take a breather, assess. Did something happen physically to my body? If the answer is no, then it is likely perceived danger, turning on a false alarm. And if you can kind of hold back on getting into that loop and research and investigating and rushing to a chiropractor in the hope that they can fix you, which is all based on a belief that a new pain means my body's the problem. And if you've already gone through the mind-body condition or the mind-body syndrome, if you will, and symptoms, and there was no accident, it's extremely likely that any new symptom is also coming from a brain perceiving danger incorrectly. Misinformation and fear, perceived danger. So it's not a leap to say, new symptom, it's probably TMS. It's probably a mind-body thing. Don't panic. Let's see what happens. Do your best to jump right to safety and reassure yourself that you're going to be okay. What you may find is that's a real good way of avoiding this upward spiraling fear, pain, loop that can sometimes happen. The key phrase, don't panic. And if you're panicking, try to catch it soon and pull yourself out quickly so that you don't stay in that panic. And whatever you do, stay off the internet, because an acute onset of symptoms doesn't mean you need to go into the internet to the very worst websites and chat forums and Reddit threads and everything else to hear horror stories from other people who don't know anything about mind-body symptoms and who are just terrified. If you want to increase your fear, going to those bad neighborhoods is a great way to do it. But don't rush there. It's not. That doesn't predict a good outcome if you go ask terrified people what's going on in your body. They're just going to terrify you more. They're well-meaning people, not judging at all. But stay away from those bad neighborhoods if you could. So I hope this all makes sense. The fear loop, how to avoid it. Don't panic. Symptoms go up that you already have. Don't panic. A new symptom, don't panic. Calm, reassure. It's probably just TMS. It's probably just the brain perceiving danger incorrectly. So I'm going to treat it that way initially. Now look, if you've got chest pain, you can't breathe, feel like there's an infection going on, right? There are certain cases where you are prudent to go get checked out medically, right? If it feels catastrophic, like, holy crap, I might die, go to the hospital. If it's a pain symptom, it's likely just TMS, perceived danger. And a calm response is a really good way to test if that's what it is, because if you're not panicking, you're calm, you're likely to see it not keep on escalating, taper off, and eventually come back down. Symptoms will settle down when you do. This is a matter of overcoming fear. And if we fuel the fear with the panic and the freak out and the worry and the deciding you've got some catastrophic thing. Sorry, my phone's buzzing and making noises. If that's what you're doing, don't be surprised when your symptoms go up. But guess what? Even when symptoms go up like that, a good way to check to make sure and see that it is a mind-body perceived danger thing, ask yourself, how did it start? Where was the pain level? And can I observe, looking back in hindsight, the symptoms getting worse and worse and worse, the more fearful I got, the more doubt I had, the more I was convinced that it was a body problem. And oh no, it was a body problem with a really horrible, outcome. That's proof that it's a mind-body condition. Because if there was something per se, let's say they slept wrong on the pillow and some jaw thing did something, that would be sore when it happened, but it wouldn't get worse and worse and worse if it was a body problem. Generally, the body starts to heal pretty quickly. So I hope this makes sense. I hope this gives you some insight as to this fear or pain loop, how to avoid it. 2 words: don't panic. Let me reframe that. Panic less. If you're panicking, it's understandable, but panic less. Don't stay in the panic. Analyze what's going on and notice if your symptoms keep climbing. How's your fear been? How's your doubt been? Are you fueling it or are you cooling it? Are you reminding yourself you're going to be good? This is all temporary? Or are you fueling it with more fear and panic and worry and doubt and catastrophic thinking and, oh no, I've got this? So, panic less, freak out less, be less bothered. What you may find is if you can respond to a new symptom or a symptom that starts to increase with calm and clarity and certainty and confidence that it's temporary and this is just a false alarm, you're going to notice it taper off and start to settle back down. So, love you folks, and as always, we'll see you tomorrow. Oh, by the way, the book. Right now, if you go to Amazon, Kindle version only for pre-order. For whatever reason, the way I'm set up as a self-publisher, Amazon's not letting me do a pre-order for the paperback. But please understand, January 7th, next Tuesday, all 3 formats should be available. Kindle, paperback. They should be available in many countries. If your country is served by Amazon, you buy books there, it's likely going to be available to you there as a paperback. Kindle should be available globally. Audible should be available globally. As long as you've got the Audible app, you should be able to buy it. And if it's not available in the audio version on the 7th, it will be soon thereafter. We've got all the audio files and all the information to Amazon for them to review it and get it approved. And so, should be available by the 7th, but if not, keep checking back if you want the Audible version. The paperback should definitely be up and live on the 7th. So, appreciate the interest and the support and all the love. And as always, we'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Love you.